Welcome to All Architecture, the YouTube channel dedicated to, you guessed it, all things architecture, and this is Blueprints to Bookworm's The Deep Divers, where we discuss about architectural books. In today's episode, architect Lena Arvidson and Doreen Costello are continuing their conversation from the previous episode on The Oregon Experiment by Christopher Alexander. So, let's jump back in, dive deeper into how these ideas translate into practical steps, and explore more of this extraordinary approach to user-driven design and organic development.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Oregon Experiment.
Last time, you were painting us a picture of Alexander's vision for the University of Oregon, with those vibrant university streets and a campus that truly feels like a living, breathing community.
It is a powerful vision.
Yeah, and it's making me rethink everything I thought I knew about campus design.
For those of you who are ready to dive into the nitty-gritty of how this vision could be implemented, I highly recommend checking out Chapter 6, Coordination. What makes that chapter so special?
Well, it lays out a practical roadmap for how the university could actually use its centralized budget to encourage this organic development. It's really fascinating.
Oh, cool.
To see how Alexander tackles this challenge of translating these, kind of abstract principles into concrete actions.
Right, so he's not just saying, get rid of the master plan and let things just evolve organically.
He's actually providing a framework for how to make that happen.
Yes.
Within the constraints of a real-world institution.
Exactly.
That's impressive.
It is. He's basically saying, look, I know this isn't going to be easy, but here's a way that we can make this work.
I like that.
Yeah.
Are there any other chapters that you'd recommend for listeners?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you're really intrigued by the idea of user-driven design, Chapter 2, Participation, is a must-read.
Okay.
Alexander passionately argues for why involving the people who actually use the spaces is so essential for creating a truly human-centered environment.
Yeah, it only makes sense.
And he even walks us through the story of the music school extension, which was designed by a group of faculty, staff, and students.
It's always inspiring to see those real-world examples.
Yeah.
It shows that it's not just some utopian dream.
Right.
It can actually be done.
It's a testament to the power of collaboration and community engagement. What strikes me about the Oregon Experiment is that it's not just a book about architecture. It's really a book about how we create a better world.
I completely agree. It's about empowering people to shape their own environments.
Yes.
To create spaces that foster a sense of belonging, well-being, connection.
It resonates so deeply, especially in today's world where so many of us feel disconnected from the places we live.
You're spot on.
And speaking of creating a sense of place, you mentioned earlier those incredible illustrations that depict a possible future for the University of Oregon.
Yes.
Can we delve into those a bit more?
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it.
I'm dying to hear about the details.
Okay, so those illustrations, they really bring Alexander's vision to life.
They do.
Imagine, strolling down 13th Avenue, which has been transformed into this vibrant promenade.
Oh, right.
Instead of cars rushing by, you see people walking, biking, socializing, shops and cafes spilling out onto the street, creating a lively and welcoming atmosphere.
It sounds so inviting.
Right. It's a far cry from the typical car-centric campus design we see so often.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not just about creating a pleasant atmosphere.
Right.
It's about fostering a sense of community.
Exactly.
Imagine students and faculty mingling, chatting on benches beneath shady trees or grabbing a coffee together.
Yeah.
It creates this much more human scale and interconnected environment.
It's like the campus becomes an extension of the town and the town becomes an extension of the campus.
Yeah.
The boundaries blur.
I love that.
And you have this vibrant mix of people and activities.
And what about the buildings themselves?
Yeah.
Do they maintain that same human scale feel?
They do, absolutely.
Okay.
Instead of these, towering monolithic structures, you see a collection of smaller, more intimate buildings. Interconnected by arcades and pathways.
Right.
They're designed to be inviting, accessible, and woven into the fabric of the landscape.
It almost sounds like a medieval village with its narrow streets, intimate courtyards, and buildings that have evolved organically over time.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
There's this sense of history, of organic growth,
Right.
of a place that has been shaped by the people who live there.
Yeah.
But you can also tell it's clearly a space designed for the 21st century,
Right.
you know, with cutting-edge facilities, a focus on sustainability.
Speaking of the sustainability,
Yeah.
was that even a consideration back when this book was written in the 70s?
You know, it's interesting you ask that.
Yeah.
While the term sustainability might not have been as prevalent back then,
Right.
Alexander's principles inherently promote a more sustainable approach to development.
How so?
Well, for starters, piecemeal growth, by its very nature, encourages a more mindful use of resources.
Right.
Instead of demolishing and rebuilding on a massive scale, you're adapting and reusing existing structures,
Right.
reducing waste, minimizing your environmental impact.
It's a more conservative approach, in the best sense of the word.
I like that.
It's about respecting what already exists.
Yeah.
And finding ways to make it work for the present and the future.
Exactly. And remember, Alexander emphasizes the importance of connecting people to nature.
Right.
He advocates for incorporating those natural elements into the built environment.
Like what?
Trees, gardens, water features.
Okay.
Creating spaces that are not only functional,
Yeah.
but also restorative and life-affirming.
It's about recognizing that we're part of a larger ecosystem,
Yes.
not separate from it,
Exactly.
which is a perspective that's more important now than ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, what's really striking is how these ideas, which were considered radical back in the 70s,
Right.
are now becoming mainstream.
That's true.
We're seeing this growing movement
Yeah.
towards more human-centered, sustainable, community-driven approaches to design.
Yeah, it's exciting to see that shift happening.
It is.
But I'm curious, how does the Oregon experiment fit into the larger Center for Environmental Structure series? How does it build on the ideas from the timeless way of building and a pattern language?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think you could say that the Oregon experiment is the culmination of everything that Alexander has been building towards in the previous 2 volumes.
Right.
So in the timeless way of building, he lays out that philosophical foundation
Right.
for this human-centered approach to architecture, right?
Yeah.
Exploring the concept of the quality without a name.
Right. It's that intangible feeling
Yes.
of harmony, beauty, and connection
Yes,
that we experience in spaces that we really love.
exactly. And
Yeah.
then in a pattern language, he provides those practical building blocks,
Right.
patterns, for creating such spaces.
So a pattern language is like a toolbox
Yes.
filled with solutions to common design problems.
Yeah, based on his extensive research and observation.
Right, right.
Exactly.
Okay,
And then in the Oregon experiment, he shows us how to use those tools,
okay.
how to apply those patterns in a real-world setting.
So it's like the final piece of the puzzle falls into place.
It's the bridge between theory and practice.
Right.
He's not just telling us what to do.
Yeah.
He's showing us how to do it.
Which is incredibly valuable.
Very valuable.
Especially for architects and urban planners
Yes.
who are grappling with these complexities of designing for real people
Right.
in real places.
Absolutely. It challenges them to rethink their traditional ways of working, you know?
Yeah.
To move beyond this top-down master planning
Yeah.
and embrace a more collaborative, user-driven approach.
It's a call to reclaim the human element in design,
Yes.
to create spaces that nourish our souls as well as our bodies.
Beautiful.
And it's a call that's more relevant than ever.
Absolutely.
But here's the burning question.
All right.
Did Alexander's vision in the Oregon experiment actually become reality?
Right.
Did the university truly embrace this model of organic development?
Well, that's a story for our next episode.
Ooh, a cliffhanger.
The real-world impact of the Oregon experiment is a complex one, filled with both successes and challenges.
All right, well, I guess we have to stay tuned to find out what happened.
You do.
Thanks for tuning in to Blueprints to Bookworm, the deep divers on all architecture. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of architecture. Got a topic or book you'd like us to explore? Drop it in the comments below. See you next time, where every blueprint unfolds a new story.